And now joining us here to discuss the situation in Armenia is Dominik Cagara, co-founder and director of OC Media. Hello, and thanks for joining us on TVP World.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So I wanted to ask, why are we seeing these protests? Can we take a step back, and can you tell us why are these protests happening? How are they related to what happened last year in Nagorno-Karabakh?
The protests are related to the new demarcation process of the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which has been pushed by Azerbaijan in the aftermath of the assuming of full control over Nagorno-Karabakh by Azerbaijan following the last year developments.
Right, so we recalled those times, and we know that they're trying to make a peace deal between Azerbaijan. And so concerning that peace deal, this is the first step, but it's not very popular in Armenia. Could this spell the end or the impeachment of Prime Minister Pashinyan?
This is highly unlikely, but let me circle back to the attitudes in Armenian society. The deal, of course, is not ideal and not very popular among the population. The loss of Nagorno-Karabakh and the loss of the entire population of Nagorno-Karabakh has been a huge blow to Armenians. There is a sense of despair and entrapment with the mounting demands from Azerbaijan regarding the signing of a peace deal that's not going to be favorable towards Armenia. And there is a constant sense of threat coming from Azerbaijan or Turkey, also in the context of complicated relations with Russia, that seems to have prioritized Azerbaijan in the latest developments. That's why any sort of changes to the borders of Armenia itself or the territory that is controlled, or any sort of changes to historical narratives inside Armenia are considered something very painful. People who have taken to streets have radically opposed the latest unilateral move by the Armenian government to hand over a couple of villages to Azerbaijan within this demarcation process. But the question is if there really was an alternative to this move, and if there is any sort of leader that could take over power from Pashinyan. It seems that although that disgruntlement is big, the alternative to Pashinyan's rule and the possibility of impeachment is rather small.
Okay, so you said it looks like there is no alternative to the current prime minister, but do you think that this move, this deal might, because this is something that some people bring up, might it embolden Azerbaijan to go even further rather than help in reaching a real peace deal?
This is the debate happening right now. Proponents of the deal say that it needs to be signed in order to ensure that Azerbaijan is going to respect the borders of Armenia as specified in this deal. And Armenia will also in turn recognize the borders of Azerbaijan, including the former Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. The opponents of the deal argue that this is appeasing to the aggressive policy of Azerbaijan. It's difficult to decide which one is right, because the policy of Azerbaijan towards Armenia has been very harsh, following the military defeat of Armenia and the loss of the population of Nagorno-Karabakh. And it seems that Azerbaijan is the one that holds all the cards now.
Right, there's a lot of IDPs in Armenia as a result of having to leave Nagorno-Karabakh. I remember some time ago there was kind of a communique from the Azerbaijani side saying that it would respect the rights of the former inhabitants of Nagorno-Karabakh to return, but they would have to take Azerbaijani citizenship. From the Azerbaijani side, is the offer to kind of bring that population back and let them reside in their homes, is it a sincere offer, or is there some nuances or caveats to it?
I doubt it's sincere. Azerbaijan has repeated for many years, when the conflict still lasted, that they consider Nagorno-Karabakh Armenians their citizens who were entitled to stay in the country. But the society has never been prepared for peace, for peaceful coexistence with Armenians, ethnic Armenians living in the territory of Azerbaijan together in one society. There has never been discussion on whether there would be Armenian schools, whether Armenians would have right to exercise their language, whether they would have any sort of autonomy. This absolutely never happened. I don't think that Azerbaijani society as a majority is ready to coexist with a large minority of Armenians within their own country, and the government hasn't taken absolutely any steps whatsoever in order to ensure such an integration could happen. For me, right now, any return of Armenians to Nagorno-Karabakh seems extremely unlikely. And given the very tense security situation and the overall sense of threat for Azerbaijan, the majority of refugees consider it dangerous to return to Azerbaijan, even if such opportunity appeared.
So now many Armenians are saying that Armenia has been trying to rally, well, let's say Western support for its cause, but these attempts seem to be futile. Why is this so?
It's probably because Nagorno-Karabakh was internationally recognized as the territory of Azerbaijan. It seems that Armenia lost the conflict. They didn't manage to push through their case for whether independent Nagorno-Karabakh or future part of Armenia. Azerbaijan won. Like right now, Armenia is trying to rally support in the demarcation process or that from Azerbaijan. There seems to be some sort of recognition from the West that the threat of renewed hostilities between Armenia and Azerbaijan, this time not over Nagorno-Karabakh, but over, for example, parts of Armenia proper, is real. And this is the sort of support Armenia is trying to rally. That, again, plays into the change of Russian policy towards Armenia and the growing tension between the two countries with the recent order of Armenian authorities to get rid of Russian military at its borders and airports.
Okay, well, we'll just have to continue to follow this as it develops. Dominik Cagara, the co-founder and director of OC Media, thank you very much for joining us today and discussing.
Thank you for having me.